interviewed someone this week who gave me a little bit of the same feeling. He shambled out onto stage, first into our consciousness, with his friend Charlotte, and Simon Cowell was heard at the time saying, "Just when you thought it couldn't get worse." But when Jonathan Antoine began to sing, it gave Britain's Got Talent one of its finest ever moments. Then, just 17 years old, he went on to the final, where he and Charlotte claimed the runners-up spot. Well, he's now gone solo, he's just beginning a tour, and he has a new Christmas single out. I spoke to him earlier, and we began by chatting about that audition.
Even from the moment it happened, it's been a strangely dim and distant memory. I suppose because whilst I was actually on the stage, it was kind of paralyzing in a way, and it was scary, and I guess instinct kicked in, and I don't remember much from the actual the audition.
I just watched the audition again this morning, and you almost had a false start, didn't you? You must have been so incredibly nervous at that moment.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah, I don't know how precisely to explain just how nerve-wracking an experience like that is. You have all of those people in the studio itself, which is terrifying enough, but knowing that it's going to be broadcast to the British public is a whole nother issue.
And the audience were on their feet as you were singing, you and Charlotte. And, you know, how did that feel? That must have been absolutely wonderful. And your confidence did seem to grow throughout that performance. Did them getting on their feet and cheering and clapping help?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the crowd reaction was incredible. And for me and how I was feeling and how life seemed at the time, it was just the boost I needed. And yeah, I think that you're right. You can see even in that clip alone, you can see me sort of emerging from a long kept shell.
Yes, you mentioned in the little film that we watched on Britain's Got Talent that you had been bullied throughout your school years, and you were then still only 17. You're 21 now. Was it important to you to talk about, you know, the difficult times that you had?
It was. It was definitely an incredibly important issue to me, particularly because I think it's stigmatized. I mean, that's a fact. It's stigmatized in society, mental illness in general, and I think, yeah, it's incredibly important to talk about those things, and it's the only way that you can truly, you know, seek help and actually find solutions.
You hinted a little while ago that you were, at the time of that audition, in a very dark place. How bad a time was that for you in your life?
I had left the high school that I'd spent the majority of my schooling time at to go to a private school, and that really didn't sit well with me. It wasn't the right type of anything really for me specifically, so I became incredibly depressed with that as well, and ended up dropping out of that school, and that was when most of this happened. So I was
yes,
I didn't really know what my options were. I wasn't sure where I would go from there, or if there was, you know, a future for me whatsoever.
But you did know that singing was the most important thing in your life, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, at the time, I hardly even considered it, but it was kind of the only thing that was getting me through. I was doing a lot of singing at the school that I'd just left. I was, in fact, I went back to do a thing called house music, which was just a little competition. I went back to sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, wow.
Because even though I'd technically left the school, the music was still so important to me, and I was very thankful that they let me come back and do that.
I mean, that must have been like, in a way, closure. Okay, I can shut the door on this bad stuff and move on now and celebrate. That must have felt fantastic.
Yeah, it's certainly been a a hard-fought road, a very strange and winding one, but yeah.
Absolutely. And this style of music, have you always favoured the sort of opera and then the, mixing it up a bit with pop? Popera, I think they called it, didn't they?
In terms of singing, yeah, absolutely. I've always really enjoyed doing this stuff. I mean, probably the first song I ever learned was Where Is Love from Oliver, which obviously would sound very different nowadays. In terms of listening, I listen more to more contemporary stuff and heavy metal music, I suppose.
Wow, that is almost shocking, that admission. I think we'd love to hear you sing you've had 2 solo albums, and your second album, Believe. We've got a song, the title track, in fact, from Believe. We're gonna play that so we can hear you sing. Jonathan, tell me a little bit about Believe. It's not in English for a start, is it?
Believe, the whole concept of the album, it's as simple as it gets, really. It's about the journey that has taken place here in the past several years, and the fact that, as everyone should, you should believe in yourself and your ability and your own worth. In terms of the song, I believe, Because We Believe, is partly in Italian, and it's a song that I think the first time I heard Russell Watson do it, who's a great friend of mine, a fantastic guy in general.
Yes.
And I heard his version. I ruminated on it for a long time and really enjoyed that, and wanted to make my own, I suppose.
Well, let's hear it, Jonathan. It's beautiful. This is Jonathan Antoine singing Believe on BBC Radio Berkshire. More with Jonathan in just a moment. After listening there to the glorious voice of Jonathan Antoine, almost impossible to believe he's only 21. Jonathan, the power in your voice is just extraordinary. And are you as comfortable singing in Italian as English?
Well, for one, thank you very much.
It's beautiful.
But in terms of the question, it's actually very strange. I cannot yet speak Italian. I am not particularly well versed even in English for the most part. But for some reason I find it strangely easy to sing in. The sounds of the language itself lend and tend towards making good sound.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things, of course, is that you were, when we first saw you on Britain's Got Talent, you were with Charlotte. It was Charlotte and Jonathan. So what happened there? Was that just a sort of, you'd explored together music as much as you could, and you went your separate ways?
Yeah, essentially, you've hit the nail on the head right there. We made 2 albums together over the 18 months following the show, and it was at that point that we realised, our destinies, I suppose you could say, lay in different directions. She is more of a musical theatre type person, and she wanted to go back and study, and I suppose I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing.
You are having a fantastic time. And aren't you the youngest tenor to have ever had a #1 album in the classical charts?
Apparently so.
That's amazing. You must be so proud of that. But do you miss Charlotte? I mean, you're still so young. You're only 21. It's quite brave to sort of be going out solo. And it was clear from the audition that you and Charlotte were a real tight double act, and you were very loyal. You weren't going to let Simon split you up. I mean, do you miss her now, or are you happy being solo?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, it's great to do, I guess, whatever I want and not have to consider anything except how difficult it might be for me.
Yes.
But yeah, it was great to have someone to rely on and to do the duets. The duets were such beautiful pieces, and it was a fantastic time. I think we did about as much as we felt comfortable with.
Well, absolutely, and life does move on relentlessly. You're obviously still having the time of your life. I noticed that you and Charlotte, you were never boyfriend-girlfriend, but you have met someone now, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Oh, I love that nice love story.
She's from Canada, but she's actually in the process of moving here, so very soon.
That's
in the next few
exciting.
months.
Is she a singer too?
She's not, no. No, nothing to do with music. I don't think I could handle another musician.
Fantastic. Now, you're actually on tour at the moment in Britain, and you've got a new Christmas single out. So how do you handle touring? I mean, I think you're coming to the Mayflower in Southampton on December the 4th, which is our nearest to us here in Berkshire. But how do you handle touring? Do you like it?
I do like it, but it is incredibly tough. For the most part, it's just about in between the shows, making sure that you essentially put yourself in stasis. If I could cryogenically freeze myself in between shows, I certainly would.
Just to lock down and have a proper rest. And,
Yeah, yeah.
and how do you look after your voice when you're touring? Because, you really do work so hard on stage, such a powerful instrument. Do you have a special routine, a gargling, or what do you do to look after your voice?
I'm a very very loose in my traditions, you could say.
You're young and slapdash. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
I am indeed 21 years old, and I think that a lot of this discipline in terms of really looking after the voice will come with time. But at present, the things that I do to look after it are mostly just keeping my mouth shut.
Resting. Okay, well, let's give you a chance to do that right now, and we'll enjoy some more music. But I'm really keen to talk about your plans for the future and also the very big names that you have performed with, Jonathan, because you really have, star-studded guest lists you've been on already in your career. So more with you, Jonathan, in a moment after this on BBC Radio Berkshire. He was the runner-up in 2013, is that right, Jonathan, 2013?
I think it was 2012.
2012. You were 17, you're 21 now. So, and it has been an extraordinary 4 years, hasn't it, since then? What's been the highlight for you, would you say, of the last 4 years?
Oh man, I guess in a way it would be easier to pick lowlights. It's all been, it's all just been a blur, but the most incredible, colourful, beautiful blur that I could ever experience. I was at the iTunes Festival a couple of years ago with Placido Domingo, who introduced me onto the stage.
Oh. Now, was he a hero of yours already?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Just the fidelity of that voice is just ridiculous.
Yes.
I struggle to imagine how he has kept it up and how he is still so strong vocally.
You do realise, of course, that people say beautiful things about your voice too. How does that sit with you?
It's crazy to me. It's people call me all kinds of things, all kinds of positive things, and I'm just so thankful, honestly. What more can I say than, thank you so much to anyone who even takes the time to listen, really.
So one of the things that you have done, I mean, your solo career, you've got 4 albums, 2 of them with Charlotte, 2 solo albums, and you've been to America as well with it, which is notoriously difficult to crack for British performers. But you performed at the Muhammad Ali Celebrity Fight Night in Arizona. Who was there? Go on, who was there? Who was watching you in that audience? Because they must all have been there, weren't they?
Well, I remember Billy Crystal was in the audience, which was
funniest man to walk the planet.
Amazing, just amazing. But on stage, David Foster, which, oh my goodness! For those who may not be aware, David Foster wrote The Prayer, which was the song that Charlotte and I sang on the audition. So it was this weird full circle-ish moment, and getting to perform as part of these incredible, just hyper talented musicians. It was incredible.
Sting among them as well? Wow.
This was a separate event actually with again with David. It was Sting, Neo, Adam Levine from Maroon 5, who I used to sing Maroon 5 This Love karaoke back when I was like 11. So it just meeting all these heroes and these incredible musicians. I just feel blessed.
Fantastic.
It's amazing.
Have you been? You don't need to mention any names, but have you been disappointed by any of those that you've met? I hope not. But sometimes it's crushing, isn't it, when you come face to face with a hero and they're a bit rude.
Thankfully, I haven't. I guess a lot of that is just expecting people to just be humans. When you know place this elevated importance on certain people, which you see very commonly now, you tend to get lost and kind of forget that they're just another person. So
Absolutely.
even if someone was rude to me or whatever, which no one has been, they're just another person. Maybe they're having a stressful day.
Oh, you're lovely. You're lovely. It's lovely to hear you so steady on your feet, because the last 4 years have been quite a whirlwind. I mean, how do you see the future panning out for you now? Are you going to stay with this genre of music, or is there something else you want to try? How does the future look? Because you've got a long one ahead of you, haven't you?
Yeah, with luck and it's tough to say. I'd love to continue doing classical music. I know there are a lot of people who would be very upset if I didn't.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
I want to do everything, and that's my problem, I suppose. I want to try everything, and
does that include
just
pop and rock and jazz
absolutely.
and swing and
Everything. If I can find the resources, the time, and the people to make stuff like that happen, that's I want to do it. I have interests outside of music too. I like to make videos. I like photography. I guess I want to do a bit of everything, just in general.
Wow. Wow, it's fantastic, and I'm sure you will be able to enjoy for many years to come. Just before I let you go, your Christmas single, why have you come up with some Christmas music?
Some Christmas music because I absolutely love the holiday season. I love the cold personally. I'm a cold guy.
Yeah.
And Christmas Dream Come True itself it's just a really fun song, composed by Chris Broom, and I found it so fun to perform and to eventually put out there. I thought, why not?
Brilliant. And you're going to be performing that in your shows on the tour you're on at the moment?
I should be.
You should be. Do you make up your set list as you go along, or is it all nailed down in stone?
A magician never reveals his secrets.
Oh, you're just lovely. Jonathan, thank you so much for spending some time with us here today on BBC Radio Berkshire, and continued good luck and joy in all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.